Good evening, family. Ken Mills here with World Views. Tonight we have a very special episode, coined the community episode. Now, I know most of you that are out there, you guys come from renowned communities within the Houston area and also abroad. But something is very synonymous with Houston is our communities. Right now, we're going through gentrification. We're going through many different things that are dissembling those different communities that we come from. But today, we're going to meet with three individuals in their own walks of life that are working toward bringing those communities together in their own way. Now, what I'd like for you to do, just stay tuned here a moment. We're going to shoot to a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'll have our first illustrious guest. Ken Mills here with World Views on Boss Up Houston Network.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
And we're back. This gentleman sitting right next to me, very unique individual. This guy here, he tours all around Texas and abroad performing comedy. But he's also a Houston native. Bringing to you Leo Rich. How are you, Leo?
I'm feeling good. Happy to be here. I drove all the way from Austin, Texas to come check out my boy Ken Mills. Whatever he's doing, I'm supporting. Ask him.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Now, Leo, let me ask you this. You're from Houston. What are you doing in Austin?
Life is real, and I found better opportunity in Austin. So now I'm in Austin working my jelly, and I'm traveling between Austin and Houston every week. So I'm in Houston weekly, and I'm still in Austin weekly, too.
So what are some of the things that you're doing out there in Austin?
Right now I'm working with Be Smooth Entertainment, and I'm really trying to become their house comedian. So I started opening the show, then I featured the show, and now I hosted the last show, and I'll be hosting the next show. And he has a lot of big names coming up, so I'm really hoping I can keep my position on holding the mic.
So what are some of those big names that you've opened for or worked with?
Well, Ray Etc. I always love working with him. He's a Houston native one. And I'll say J.J. Williams from the SIP. A couple other guys. I'll be working with Billy Sorrells on the next one. I really don't know the guys' names. I just know they're really good guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool. I really don't get starstruck or nothing. They're pretty good guys. And, I don't expect them to, put me on their shoulder and take me with them. I learn from them. And then they go about their way. I go about mine. But, hey, come back and get me if you see this. I go with you. Let me know. They didn't ask me or nothing. Nothing like that.
All right. So let's go ahead and go in reverse here.
Right.
So we're at the point where you are now, but you start from humble beginnings. You start from the north side of Houston, Texas, correct?
Yeah, I came out of Greens Point, Texas, the Spring, Texas. I'm mostly known for Spring, but I started in Greens Point. Thank God I got out of there.
Okay. Now, what were some of the things that you faced when you were in Greens Point?
Well, just the same. You really don't notice when you're young, just growing up, in a single parent household, and you don't know how that things affect you as you grow up. But I really didn't see a problem until I got older. I was like, man, I probably should have had a father figure back in the day. It probably would have helped me out with a couple things. But now I just talk about it in comedy and keep it rolling, because life don't stop for nobody. You feel me?
Right. So I understand also that in the spring area, you were going to schools earlier this year reading to the children.
Oh yeah, shout out to my agent, Miss Stephanie Patrick from MTM. That's my agent out there.
Mm-hmm.
She hooked me up with a client, Mr. Patrick Carmen, and he had a book called Towerville, and I was a character out of the book. So I would go to all the schools, not just Spring ISD. I'm talking about all over the Houston area. It was 100 schools on the map. So we would just take district by district. I would go in there. I teach the kids 2 writing tools. So the first writing tool I would teach them is always tell the story out loud. Right. Before you write a story, always say it out loud, because after you say it, it'll be easier to write it. And the second skill I would teach them is draw a picture. It's called a word picture. Like if you had a dragon, you draw that dragon. You can see that dragon in your mind. You make a long body. You make 4 little claws. You make a flame, an awesome flame, and things like that. And then I would tell them about the book that I was selling, that I was a character out of. It was Minecraft inside the book, and then they'll get excited. It was about a 30-minute presentation, wrapped it up and gone. It was the best thing of my life. It was my first real professional acting gig, so I was really excited. It was really exciting, but COVID shut that down. Next thing you know, I was cleaning door handles for $12 an hour, so yeah. Shout out to COVID.
All right, so with that interaction with those children, how did you feel when you were working with them? What were some of the things that you got from that?
I'm glad you asked. People really never asked me how I felt. I felt amazing. It felt so empowering to know that I was performing in front of 200 to 400 kids in one setting, and then going to another setting of 200 to 400 kids, that all their attention was on me, and I was there to help them learn skills that they were going to take into their life, or even leave a memory in their mind, because a lot of those schools couldn't have a lot of author visits. That's one thing I never really told people. It was considered an author visit when I came. So none of the librarians and teachers really knew that I was coming dressed up and looked like cosplay. I had a hat on, I had like overalls. I looked like somebody who wasn't supposed to be in that school. Right. So I get there and they be like, "Where's the author at?" And I'd be like, "No, I am the author visit." And then that's where it usually would take a turn for the better, or it take a like, "What are you doing here?" You know what I mean? So it was awkward in that stage, but I just started rolling with it, because I like, you should have known what you signed up for. And that's what the client told me. They knew what they signed up for. It's their fault that they didn't read what was coming to the school. So it was a good professional, professionalism. And that author went on to cast me in my first movie called Don't Be Next. And we did it all on Zoom, and it's about the pandemic. Y'all can check that out too.
All right. So where can they find that?
They can find that at don'tbenext.com, and you can find me. They want to find me?
No.
Okay.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
I was say they can find me. I say 35. I 35. Where can they find me?
So you bring up acting, and everyone. I know Leo. I met Leo last year during a play where you were acting, the gospel play. Remember?
Was that before the Mr. A's?
That was way before.
Oh, okay. I thought that was before that. Okay.
Yeah. So, just tell me what led you into venturing into acting?
Man, Miss Denise. If you ever heard of Miss Denise, I forgot her last name, but Denise, she saw me at her award show. She saw me perform comedy. I do stand-up comedy also, and I won a reward that night. Shout out to Miss Zen, and she came to me after. She said, "I think you'll be pretty good with this acting group I'm with." And next thing you know, I got cast in my first play. I played 2 or 3 roles, and I end up ending that same play also. Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. I just got addicted, and I ended up doing 6 more plays with that same group last year.
Right. So I can attest to this by, I guess, acting with Leo. Leo's very passionate and very good at his craft. So if you ever see Leo in the movie, check him out. But Leo, one thing I'd like to ask, it seems like you have a lot of things going with your arts, with the comedy and with the acting. What is the engine that's pushing you to do these things?
Man, I have to honestly say, losing my mother, that was one of the things I wasn't prepared for. And when it happened, it just helped me realize, life ain't as long, and and you gotta cherish it. And so instead of like falling back into like a Great Depression, I got busy, and I started feeling myself, feeling more energized the more I got busy. And I started thinking, that's exactly what she'll want me to do, to get off my tail and do something. So I just kept doing it, and it's actually refreshing knowing that she can't look down here and be like, you ain't working. You know what I mean? So I like to, I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and work all day on my craft. So it's just I can't go to sleep for longer than 5 or 6 hours now that I'm not actually working in a working environment, now that I'm doing this full time.
Okay. Oh, so you're doing the comedy, the acting, everything full time? Correct?
Oh yeah. At the same time, I do use Craigslist every now and then to go do some in and out jobs, but no, I don't do any like on the clock schedule type stuff anymore.
Okay. Commendable. So,
shout out to my woman.
So as you left Houston and you cracked the scene in Austin, what were a few of the obstacles that you faced to get you to this point in Austin?
I would say there's not as many black people in Austin, and my comedy is more geared to black people. So I started seeing that I had to change up my tempo, but not so much my jokes. More your tempo when you're in front of different race and different ethnicities of crowds. And that's the biggest one, and there's not a lot of mics out that it was hard finding mics. And the mics that I did find, I would often be left at the end, just like any other city. So, once you get to a city, they don't know you. They got you at the bottom of the list. I'm not showing up on time. People gave me chances. If you don't show up on time and somebody give you a chance, you probably going to get bumped or you're going to be drawn. So it's pretty much the same thing. If you show up on time and you're diligent, you'll get the same opportunities anywhere you're at.
All right.
Yeah.
So the author visits at the schools were not the only community-based thing that you're around right now, correct? So tell us about your boat vision with the comedy.
All right, we also with Reviving Pearls, working with Miss Yukami Harmon, and she has a domestic violence group which helps protect the women, and where the women actually join together every once a year, and we do a boat cruise on the Kemah Boardwalk. And we have an empowerment. Last year it was so empowering, and then at the end of it, a guy came at the end. And he just gave it to it. It was like the gospel. So it's really an enthralling environment. And then we partied at the end, so it wasn't just all sad. There was a woman there. She had 98% of her body burnt up because of domestic violence. So after you leave that event, you do feel an humbling experience. So like you have I take that back. You have way more respect for women who have endured actual domestic violence.
Okay. Thank you, Leo. Now, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to have another illustrious guest. Stay tuned with Ken Mills on Worldviews on Boss Up Houston Network.
You.
Boss Up Houston, you know why? Right here.
Welcome back, family. Like I said, I have an illustrious guest with me right now. This gentleman here, very unique. I mean, very genuine as well. Bring it to you now, Eddie Young.
How's it going? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you having me.
All right,
As
welcome.
always.
Welcome. Now, Eddie, I understand that you're from the A-Leaf area, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in Piney Point, which is actually probably less than a quarter mile from here. OC Richmond, Fondren. And then the 2000s, I was there in the 90s. 2000s, I was over in the A-Leaf for most of it.
All right. So, being in the A-Leaf community, what were some of the things that you were exposed to?
Well, I guess growing up with a single mom, my mom I was born 5 days after her 17th birthday. So, once I'm hitting 8, 9 years old, my mom's 20, 4, something like that, 25. She's still trying to figure herself out. So, at a young age, I went to the streets. I just ran around and, went home when I wanted to. I didn't even have to be there when the street lights went off. So, a lot of the people who impacted my life as much like as a father figure were the dudes who was out there on the corner, things like that.
Okay. So take me down from that point, because I know you were adolescent when that took place, but as you started to grow, what were some of the things that you were involved in?
Actually, when I was fourth grade, so I'd be 8, 9 years old, the first time I ever got jumped into a clique, I was 9. I was right here off of Pagewood, Nosy. That was the first time, and actually that day was the first time I got into a real fist fight. I got into a fight with like a 7th grader. And then from there, it ended up escalating more. Once I hit 13, I joined the gang, started selling drugs, was really into the streets at that point.
Okay. So during that time frame, like you said, you had those elder gentlemen that were on the block with your father figures. Were they giving you any advice to deter you from the street?
Yeah, they would always tell me that, that I didn't want that life in the long run, that there was no end to it. There was, but when you 10, 11, 12, 13, even, even when I first met my big homie, something that he told me I didn't understand. It took me a decade to understand. When the first time I said I wanted to get down with the hood, he looked me in my face, he says, "You're white. You can be anything in this world. Fuck you trying to get down for?" Oh, excuse me. Sorry about my language. But nevertheless, it was something that didn't even resonate. I couldn't get that understanding. And so many people in that life, they're always painted with this picture of being a bad person because of the way that they make their life. But at the end of the day, it's either that or a $7.25 an hour job. And even with 40 hours, you can't even afford a 1-bedroom apartment here, let alone if you have kids. So I can't. They paint it one way, but you have to look at them in a morality type way.
I got you. So going through that, was there any situations or any event that caused you to move to a more straight path?
The birth of my daughter. When she was born, I think it might have been different had I had a son. But when I was looking at my daughter, they always say your daughter will either want a man like you or totally opposite. And the path I was going at that point, I had her when I was 19. I was surprised to make it to 18. I figured by then, prison or death, you know what I'm saying? That was the outcome I had planned for. So when she was born, I really started to go down that path to trying to correct all my wrongs.
Okay. Now, knowing the landscape of A-Leaf, there's multiple gangs in that area. So during your age where you were coming up, can you detail any events or any obstacles that you faced with those different groups in that area?
Really, not to, I don't implicate or nothing like that, but for me coming up, after my big homie had told me that, I went on this mission where if you were white and said that you were a gangbanger, I didn't care what you were from, I would check you for it. I would throw down with you. And the reason being was I had so much I had to live up to. my big homie called back to his big homies back in Cali to even get permission to even think about it. So I took that with like I had a duty, and I dealt with so many things being white and in the gang that's predominantly black that it didn't even matter if they were from the same gang as me or from a separate one. At any time I had to be ready because it could jump off or I'd have to prove myself for being white. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. It ain't not on a racial thing, but you have so many white people who come out and exploit black culture and hip hop culture, things like that, to where even when they first meet me, it's like, there's a reservation. It's like, and I understand and I respect it. And then that's why I show who I am and try to prove what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, also, Eddie, I understand that, you made a transition from the more street realm and you've moved into activism. So, could you tell us what brought you to that point within activism?
I had to really look into the roots of where the game that I, joined, where it, what it's really rooted in. And not the exploitation and things that happened after the 80s, but it was always about protecting your neighborhood, building your neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, doing more for it. So I looked at all of the pain, all of the damage that I had done to my community and realized how much of a era that I had made and I needed to make up for it. So that's what really shot me, into thinking in that realm.
Right. So, if I understand correctly, you were part of the Black Lives Matter movement here in Houston?
Yeah, I know a bunch of the organizers. I never attempted to try to become an organizer just because I knew all of my past. And I never wanted, I'm a hothead. And I never wanted, if there was an altercation between me and the police or me and somebody else, for them to then dive into my history and then try to paint the whole movement and all the positive that's going on and try to paint them with a bad brush, you know what I'm saying, bad picture because of my, I won't even call them mistakes, because of the things I did growing up in that life.
So, have you faced any trepidation when you tried to join in with the Black Lives Matter movement?
No. Really, it was like anything else. I had to just prove that I'm, I stand 10 tones down and the person that I am. But that's how it's always been. But I understand 100% because, like I said earlier, there's so much exploitation and you got so many people who, Paul Mooney had a good quote about, I ain't gonna say it, we're on good TV, but, it is what it is. Everybody wants to try to act like until it's that time. But, with that being said, it's, there's no ill meaning behind it. It's right. just to make sure that somebody's not trying to slip in and derail what's going on in the first place.
I understand. I definitely get it. So, Eddie, right now, you stepped into the comedy realm, correct? So what was one of the driving factors to bring you into comedy?
So it piggybacked off of the activism. One thing about me, I'm not a big donation person. I like to be right there with the person. And probably between 2015 2017, it was probably the lowest point of my life. I think I went to 10 funerals, you know what I'm saying, people I've known since we was 12 years old, 10 years old, you know what I'm saying, bro, like my brothers, those that blood wouldn't have made us any more related. And after being in such a dark place, I rediscovered stand-up comedy. I had, like I said, it was 2015, probably 2016 when I really started watching them again. Thanks to Netflix, they love comedy over there. So in rediscovering it, I found healing from the laughter, and it was from people like Patrice O'Neal, Martin Lawrence, Dave Chappelle's, Bill Burr's, the people who really pushed the line. But at the end of the day, there's knowledge behind it. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Right. So I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I can definitely see that in your comedic style, because when I first heard you, I felt that you were treading that line, and I was gonna ask you where you were from.
Yeah. I mean it, and my main meaning behind comedy and the reason why I pushed the line and try to make people laugh was I found a healing in comedy. I feel like you can't heal from any situation until you can laugh at least about the topic. You know what I mean? Even if the topic's brought up and you hear the topic, you don't even wait for the punchline. You instantly become angry, which is a lot of what we see nowadays. That means that topic is still holding power over you. Once you can learn to laugh, you know what I'm saying, about almost anything, you can good.
Okay. Now, some of your recent endeavors, we've been able to see you on Instagram with several of the funniest brothers in Houston, like Jeff Shelley, Lil Darryl, and a host of others. Could you expound on how you were able to get into that opportunity?
Man, I was blessed. Them Jeff Shelley and Lil Darryl, two of the funniest dudes in the city, man. Lil Darryl, man. How Lil Darryl doesn't have a comedy special on Netflix is beyond me. That's probably the funniest person in Houston, and they looked out for me. They hey, we need a white boy. All right, here I come. Like, no, I'm just joking. But no, it's one of those things. They just gave me an offer. I took it. They realized that I was really behind it, and they made me a second invitation. I showed up for that, and it's just been a blessing to actually do something that's artistic. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So, thank you, Eddie. Thank you for taking us through your journey and also informing us of what you've been doing now. But there is one IG skit that I've watched and I was just astounded by. You dropped back into your, I guess, white bag, if I could say, BB Caldwell.
Yeah, so that was actually the first sketch I ever wrote and first sketch I ever performed. It's, I can't say the title of it, but it's about another pandemic that's been going on. It's affecting men across the world of all races, religions, just all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not biased in who it affects. Check it out. I think it's hashtag Dr. BB Caldwell. Yeah, enjoy.
Okay.
There's more to come.
All right. Well, thank you, Eddie. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take a brief commercial break. And when we return, we're going to have a unique individual come here and sit in this chair. Now, y'all guys stay tuned with Ken Mills on World Views with Boss Up Houston Network.
Devin, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? DJ Khaled to be your motivational coach?
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion.
Thank you, DJ Khaled.
Tiny circles, Devin. Do another one. Another one.
Is this good?
Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Don't play yourself. Hit subscribe to play more great Geico videos. And don't forget to share.
Devin.
Breakfast at Auntie D's. Take one. That's all it's gonna take.
Riggin' Daddy's on the beat.
Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. The type of you that like to get dine anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dine anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of you that like to get dine anytime. Don P sipper, Moet, Patron sipper. You the type of girl that like to pull down the zipper.
I like that shoe.
Hit to fade, appetize. After this, I'm digging your thighs. Real debonair's eye. Looking your eyes. You gotta squirt upon your
Go sit down, baby. Go sit down.
and I'm impressed with your waist, petite shape in your thigh. Compliment you on your booty and your hair and your booty. Hey.
Here you go, baby.
Wine, dine, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of dude that like to get dine anytime. Comfort zone with you.
Cut.
All right. We're back here. So now we have an illustrious gentleman here sitting to my left. This gentleman here is one of the Houston Kings of Comedy, and also a great community organizer. Bring it to you now, Ray, etc.
Yes, Lord. Bang, bang. Dark and lovely, he himself. Yes, I'm in there, man. Rocking with my boy, man. It's great to be here, man. Great to be with y'all, man. Blessings, peace and blessings to everybody out there.
All right. So, Ray, I understand that you're from the historic South Park community.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. The original South Park, man, where Screw originated from. You know how it go.
All right. And the Timmy Chain.
And original Timmy Chain.
Thank you.
Might have a few feathers on there, but you know.
Now, I, for one, I used to live in South Park, and I moved there just for the Timmy.
I hear that.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about your upbringing?
Man, I was definitely the athlete of the family, man. I'm from South Park, but I was most definitely looked at the one that was supposed to make it in some kind of sport. And man, I went to college, played ball, and had a kid. When I had a kid, I came back to be a dad. And man, I had an older brother. Older brother died in 2007, and man, I've been just taking care of my family, doing my thing, man. I've been blessed to have a good upbringing and good people surrounding me, man. So I just ran with it, man. Just keep going, trucking for trucking, day for day.
Right. So I understand too that you have a strong allegiance to the South Park community,
yes, sir.
And you do a lot of organizing in that community. Could you tell us a little bit more about your initiatives there?
Yeah, we just recently, man. Well, not just recently. For the last past, I'm gonna say about 20 weeks. Me and a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, man, named Walt Weezy, man. He's a great MC that I deal with, and a great friend. But he was doing a homeless drive, and my son happened to see it. So my son happened to see it, man. He was like, "Dad, I want to go do it." And it was something that I wanted to expose him to, but with Corona and COVID and all that stuff going on, I didn't want to bring him out there. But man, I said the Lord was gonna bless me regardless. So we went out there, and man, we had a great time. Great conversation with the homeless people that we ran into, the hungry people that we ran into. We're not gonna call a lot of these people homeless. We're gonna call them hungry. But man, the Houston Heroes is what the organization is called. That the whole the CEO, that's his foundation. And man, this just happened probably about 2 or 3 days ago, man. But I just got my foundation solidified, man, the Rig Etc. Foundation, man. So we definitely taking the right steps towards getting, the right people on deck, man. So I'm happy about that. So we are going to be under one umbrella as far as the Houston Heroes, man. But it's going to be a multiple entity of different foundations, man. That's really making a huge impact. That's trying to feed no less than 200 people when we go out. Every time we make sure we feed everybody. Every Tuesday, man, we do this 10 a.m. So anybody that want to join, man, you're open to it. Bring donations, man, and it's just somebody got to help our people type of thing. Right. This is nothing that costs a lot of money, man, and you'll be surprised how far $5 go, man, for somebody that can use it. And I force it on these people. I force the love on them. I force the care that we're trying to give them on them, man. Even when they have pride, man, I make sure they understand that somebody got love for you out here. So we make sure we definitely do our part as much as we can.
Right. So when you go out there, and this is the reason that I like to ask, given no matter if you're religious or not, every person has a bit of humanity in them that wants to do well and has an obligation to make sure that the other person is taken care of. Now, when you go out there, are there certain tenets or commandments that you follow in order to give the help to those individuals?
One thing that we do is, we stick to a method and a format that we all got. The three of us that's mainly there, we all have an obligation to bring a certain thing no matter what happens. Right. Anybody else that brings anything is an icing on the cake. So we form an assembly line, and we make sure they get at least a good lunch, a good dinner, and at least a shirt or some shorts or something to go along to, to help with confidence. We got deodorant, all that kind of good stuff, every hygiene thing that you can think of. But we got some great people that's helping, man. The people that's helping, one of my homegirls named Tay, man, and she actually is a part of the MLB. She works with the Astros, man. And man, when I say she's a big, she's a big asset towards it, man. So the people that we've been getting has been just the type of people. Like, we get a few people that just donate and just come out there and donate their time, but the stuff that some of the other individuals bring, man, is overwhelming, and it's so much fun to be around people that want to do that for people, So yeah, that's definitely the format that we go at it when we do it.
Most definitely. So, you said that your son was one of the reasons that you got in line with that initiative. But was there any other trigger that compelled you to do it?
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. I felt like I didn't pay my tithes enough. It's my business. And I said I was gonna figure out a way to do something that could show my, you know what I'm saying, my still wanting to give back in some kind of way. And man, that was a definite. Which I ain't saying I'm not gonna give my tithes, but I'm just saying that was definitely a place to start, man, to check myself on being grateful for my life. Because that was one of the, and I wanted my son to see it for that reason. My son wanted to work, and we go to Walmart, Fiesta. He wanted help with the bag. He tell me that I want to work here. I said, "No, son, you got to set your bar a little higher." But I understand what he was saying. He just liked to help, and so I wanted to put him in a situation where he could see less fortunate people that don't have 15 Fortnite games and, you know what I'm saying, all these systems, that he can see that they're still smiling, they're still going about their days, kids and everything out there. So it's a great example for the adults just as well as the kids. So it made me want to do it because I needed to do something for my people. I can't, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't gonna wait till I became a millionaire or whatever I wanted to become to start doing for somebody that was in need. So yeah, that was definitely the push for it.
So also, in speaking of your son, I understand that you coach his team as well.
Lord, man. Lord,
let's talk about that, Coach.
Phenom, man. If y'all don't know, man, your boy was a major athlete, man. I was a great athlete, man. I had a scholarship, and I did my thing in school, man. But when it came to, I started playing semi-pro. And I played semi-pro for about 7 years, man, and I got about 4 championships, my 7 conference rings, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But when my son started to play, I wanted to coach him, and it was like I couldn't do both. And man, when I got out there and started to see the impact that I could have on the kid, you know what I'm saying, just beyond me being his coach, man, it was a major plus for me. I was like, man, I ain't going back. I see y'all later. I felt like I was too good to not coach my son to be as good as he can be, and he loves this sport. So yeah, man, I definitely want to get out there. You know, people talk crazy to kids, man. I got to get out there and make sure you ain't talking crazy to my kids. So it's definitely a great experience, man.
Now, which high school were you a phenom at?
Who? Worthing High School, HISD, yes, Lord.
Who was your coach?
Man, Coach Eddie Snow. Yes, sir. Eddie Snow. I had Burleson, you know. I had all them old school cats, man. I definitely learned from older cats, man. I was definitely one of those younger guys that hang with the older guys, man. And yeah, it paid off for me, man. I ain't make it to the league, but I got a league brain.
So, being that, you know, you are the authority figure over your son's team, does it ever offer an opportunity to be a role model to the other youth that are on there?
Yes, Lord. It has to be. I carry myself. You don't see me coming out there sagging. You see me putting the respect of the game first. I don't let them brag when they do something good or any of that thing. I let them feel good about doing it, but I don't let them shine on the other player, just, you know what I'm saying, just to get a good feel for yourself. So yeah, I definitely make sure it's a role model situation. Like I said before, man, I can't wait till I hit a platform to where I can reach the masses. I'm going to reach what I can reach right now and impact what I can impact right now. Man, when I say it is a full-time job that you would love to do if you understand the impact that you can have on somebody's future. Because I know I'm under my little league coach. That's who I'm coaching with. And this is a guy that used to coach me, and to be doing that and for him to see the man that I've grown into, he's like, man, I definitely want you to help, you know what I'm saying, grow them into something that you're doing. So yes, man, it's definitely a role model statue, man. You can't be a coach without being a role model. You can't just know football and think you're finna make a kid listen to you. You have to have some kind of, you know what I'm saying, some love in you know.
But what I will say is this, Ray, from what I've noticed by being around you these last couple of years, is a level of humility that you have in every facet of life. And one thing that I did notice as well is that you're very key on the entrepreneurial spirit, because throughout the entire time that I've known you, you've had entities on your own.
Yes, sir.
I'll call one into play the old Ocean Ave.
Yes, sir, man. That was, man, my friends, man, are responsible for me understanding how to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Shout out to my boy Ken Lex, man. This is one of the he was one of those, man, I started 45 businesses. One of them gonna work type of dudes, man. And he definitely did that. He was the owner and CEO of Bougie Hair, man, which was a multi-million-dollar company, man, that I was a part of as a friend and a family member. That he brought his friends on. He was making that. They was making that much as brothers that could help people like that, man. And they definitely showed us the blueprint on how to jump into business, man. And when we jumped into the club business, man, it was definitely it was something that you had to focus on and get right, because it can definitely slip out of control fast. But when us being football players and playing it at a high level gave us some kind of structure on how to, you know what I'm saying, conform and listen to each other and evaluate each other's opinion and all that kind of good stuff, man. And then we added that comedy, that bodega. Lord, man, it helped me build the brand that I have right now, man, and I'm always grateful for it. So the bodega will always live, man. I think I'm gonna mess around and get that tattooed on me, man. That's a real thing for me, man. That will never go anywhere, man. As long as I live, man, you will always know the bodega is a part of me, and it kept me alive, man.
But I'll tell you this: the bodega had an awesome experience. You would never know who would be in there from when you come in. One day you might see Willie D.
Yeah.
One day you might see ESG. One day you might see a basketball player.
Yeah.
One day you might see a touring comedian across the world that just came
Yes,
in
sir.
just to see what was going on.
Yep.
So I understand now you have a situation at the District 9.
Man. One of the hardest bodega. Well, I created the bodega again. The bodega is experience. It's not just a place. It's what I create, the vibe that I create in these places, man. And we found another place to create the vibe on Mondays at District 9, man. Just follow my page, man. You can definitely keep up with what I got going on. But District 9 is definitely the place you want to be on Mondays, man. I miss the Mondays. We make Mondays look like Fridays. And I promise you will have a good time. The only open mic that feels like a real show. I can guarantee you that. So definitely come check it out, man, and check out the experience, man. It's something unforgettable.
That's right. And what I will do, I will give you your roses while you still yet live. Now, from both of those different experiences that you talked about with the bodega, both of them, you were a leader in our field. And also, at this point now, you're a leader in the community. Because what I see when we go out to District 9, the entire community comes out. You can't even park in the parking lot. The streets is packed with people. And this is right on Cullen. Right there, right down the street from the old DJ Screw shop.
7500 Cullen.
That's right. And what I can understand where he's coming from and what he presents is peace.
Yes.
Peace for the community, because guess what? If people laugh and they don't have a problem.
Laughter is healing, man. I've had some of the craziest people you can imagine with many attitudes. I love to see attitudes walk into my establishment, because I promise you, it's a job for me now. I'm going to make you understand why I can make you laugh. Why laughing is healing. You know what I'm saying? It can get you in a whole different mind state, man, and that's a great thing.
All right. Now, everyone, we're going to take our last commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to bring back the entire panel, and we're going to discuss a little bit more. Just hang in here with us. World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell your truth. So, let's start with what happened. This is Red Table Talk. Red Table Talk. Red Table Talk. This table carries no judgment.
I suffered trauma at an early age.
This table brings out your truth.
I had to hit rock bottom. I had to lose everything.
This table encourages you to share your story.
I was just caught up in that pain.
This table has room for everyone. For everyone.
Red Table makes you emotional.
When there's a lot of love there, there's always a path towards healing. Intimate, provocative, unfiltered. Join us. Take a seat at the table. Only on Facebook Watch.
All right, we're back here now. So now we have the entire panel here. So gentlemen, I'll address you all with the first question. I'm going to start with Leo. So as the communities in Houston change, what are some of the more shocking things that you've seen in the communities that may need to be fixed?
It'd be I say people how they spend their money. I say my personal circle, how we spend the money. It just blows my mind how fast money blows and nothing builds. Nothing's being built, but money's being blown, and that's something I just can't stand around and keep watching happen. So that's something I'll start right there. Financial literacy.
Okay, and you, Ray?
Can we go with the question one more time?
Now the question is, what is one of the more shocking trends that you're seeing in the community that may need to be corrected?
The need to carry a gun.
All right. Come on with
in
it.
unnecessary times. I mean, everybody, you know when you're in a situation where you need to protect yourself. I don't think an everyday situation, if you putting yourself in everyday situations to have to protect yourself every day, that's your problem. But man, it has gone so far downhill with having respect for people handling altercations the right way, because now the right way is just, getting people out the way. So I definitely would make that a known thing. And my boy Stinker, man, with the stick and move gym, man, is definitely making an impact in the neighborhood. We're trying to make that a known thing, man. And he got guys that want to settle beefs, man. You can definitely come here and handle your situation. Maybe a little money on the line for you, whatever it may have be, but it's going to be a situation where you can get this off your chest. And it is working. Trips me out, and it is working, man. And I promise you, people really don't think that kind of stuff can happen, man. But it's all in us making the movement, making the push towards it. Especially the cool people. You know what I'm saying? The people that, the cool people. The people that, that make a difference out here, man. That has a voice, that has leadership, man. And I'm definitely taking that route.
Eddie, to you.
The biggest thing I'll say that I've noticed is ownership. One of the biggest things that that I see happen a lot, especially in my neighborhood over in Piney Point, which was, probably 90% black-owned homes. And when that generation who bought them homes in the 50s and 60s, once they started passing away, started seeing families just rushing to sell their homes, and now even the demographic and the history that was in the community is just gone. And people, it's like so quick to want to hurry up and sell the stuff, sell the way to get this quick little money in your pocket, but now you just sold off, not just the land and what it could be worth, but the history behind the family, and who knows, a rental property or whatever the case is, that once you get rid of that, then what? What are you turning it into? And then a lot of times it's sold pennies on the dollar. And, that's what helps expedite gentrification in the first place. A lot of people don't know this that aren't from Houston, but the Heights was actually the first city created by free slaves here in Houston, in Texas. And if you go through the Heights now, it's just a bunch of hippie white people just riding around on scooters and stuff, And all of that history has been taken away. And all of the history from the 1920 riots, all that stuff is gone.
Black history fact from a white guy.
All right. So I'll come with my final question here. So what should we do in order to avoid another Jacob Blake situation? I'll bring that to you.
I'll start with the white guy first in this question. All right. No. It's difficult. And the reason being is you really have to delve down into it. So when I look at that situation, and I couldn't watch the video. I've seen so many. I had a homeboy named Ashton Barnes from A-Leaf who was murdered by Precinct 5. So I had to pull myself and watch him. But from what I know of it, man, the dude took a bunch of steps, came around the truck to get to his door. All that time, there was multiple officers y'all could have tackled, man. You could have done something. There's, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me that, you didn't want to do a George Floyd type episode, but then you shoot the man 7 times in the back. You know what I mean? That's cowardice. And the problem is with certain jobs, you can't have cowards. There was a cop that, I don't know if y'all saw that, freaked out over her McDonald's thing, and she had ordered it on the app, right? And she like started crying. Well, if you order something on those apps, it tells you your pickup time. It doesn't just send that order straight to the restaurant. It's doing it with a computer timer to then say, okay, we told them to pick up at 10:40. It's 10:35. Now we're going to do it because McDonald's. It's going to come out quick so we can drop that order in the now. But she freaking out. Oh, that's not somebody who should have power or a gun or anything. A cop can literally arrest you, and that'll be the last time you ever see the free world again. And you can't have people who are just dysfunctional and people who don't have strength in them. You know what I'm saying? And then even with the situation like Blake and so many countless times before, go to Tamir Rice. He was a 12-year-old kid with a toy gun. And so that cowardice, you can't have that, especially when you're sending people from the suburbs to then go and police inside of the inner city, with the only interaction they've ever had with black people was what they've seen on TV and what they've heard about them. They've never actually, so you taking somebody at one thing and throwing them in, and maybe I'll give them an olive branch. Oh, I was scared. That's cool, but you know what? Then you shouldn't be in that job or that position.
All right. So do you, Ray?
I definitely think we need to start with policing ourselves as a community. As a community, I think we need to start policing ourselves as far as putting ourselves in predicaments. Man, we know as black men, as especially as street dudes, and you know what I'm saying, fam was a street. It's we know how to carry ourselves in the ways that we don't get stopped and all this kind of stuff, man. And I don't think just as far as how we carry ourselves in the regular life sometimes is, I ain't gonna say acceptable, but it's we could check ourselves before they do, and we always wait till they do it, and then, you know what I'm saying, there's a few because somebody checking you. It's like, well, I could have checked myself before I even made the move, or whatever move, you know what I'm saying, just as far as seatbelt, ticket, running the light, or any kind of thing, man. Like I said before, man, we got to stop putting ourselves in predicaments where we got to keep dealing with these people, or dealing with anybody that has a hatred, you know what I'm saying, for your inner person, period. And so with that being said, man, I don't, that's a shaky situation, man. Anybody running towards a car, I ain't gonna lie to you, if I was a cop in that situation, bro, I don't know, if it was a white boy running for his gun, I would have shot him. I don't know what may happen, but like we said before, man, this is a thing. This goes way deeper than that. These people need way more training, way more understanding of how to represent a person before it comes to that. Like I told somebody the other day, man, I ain't seen a taser used in a long time. Tasers ain't being used no more. Tasers are not being, and then below the way, it used to could take people out. You could stop people with shooting below the waist. I ain't seen that yet. You know what I'm saying? It's just so many things that they should have in their tactics before they go doing something of this nature, man. And I think but we can't get to that. We can't get to them laws right now, but we can check ourselves though. As people, we can not put ourselves in a bunch of predicaments, you know what I'm saying, to avoid dealing with them people and shit until it gets to a point to where we're legally fighting these people, because we still legally losing.
Leo?
Well, I just think whoever's putting pressure on them, keep putting pressure on them. I ain't gonna lie, because I do some goofy stuff, and I make goofy, moves. I mean, like, I'm not riding clean all the time. I say it on camera, but at the same time, a lot of people are in the same predicament I am, and when they leave the house, as long as you serious behind the wheel, you don't have to worry about nothing. I think people get a little goofy behind the wheel. I think they forget how serious of a situation they're in. I travel about 10 hours on the road all week. My woman doesn't drive the car not one time. So when I'm behind the wheel, it's on me. It's on me. I think people need to be more accountable for what they're doing. But at the same time, keep your pressure on the system. Whoever doing it, keep it on. If it's working, let me see that it's working. I'll jump on. Show me that it's working before I just do some crash dummy stuff that's going to lead me getting blackballed or have me in a corner where I have to fight the system by myself. See, I was raised by a woman who said, you know, life is a game. Play it right. That's just how I was raised. I don't know how everybody else is raised. I was raised by a woman with some game. So at the end of the day, put yourself in a position where you don't have to be like that. So that's how I look at it. But at the same time, keep the pressure on their neck. Do what you got to do to keep them. Because I was working in an environment where it was predominantly white. And when this stuff was happening, they were looking around at each other like, what's going to happen? I like them looking like that. They need to look like that. Because that's how I've been looking my whole life. I've been looking like, what's going to happen? I didn't get pulled over by 10 cops for nothing. And they all was nice and everything else. But any given moment, it could have went down. You know, so I know what you're going through. I was going over 1 mile per. You supposed to go 45. I was going 46. I put myself in that position. Why wasn't I going 40? That's why I asked myself. While I was sitting there dealing with that, I was like, man, I should have been going 40. I should have been going 44. So it's like that's how I look at it.
You know, sometimes I think it'll take a long time. It takes a long time to see inner hatred. You can't. People can have a facade for a long time. They can show you a side of them for a long time and still be hating you. And with that being said, this is why I say we got to get with ourselves before we keep thinking these people finna conform to what we want them to do as far as this. You know, because when you keep questioning people still thinking we talking crazy as far as Black Lives Matter, people, they still don't understand that this does not mean other people's lives don't matter. This just means it's about time that ours start mattering. And man, and if you don't understand that, it's like how much more battering do we have to do? And it's like, man, forget it. Let's just police ourselves and build amongst us and just keep building.
So, thank you guys for all of your stories and also your feedback on those questions. So, Leo, how can people find you?
You can find me anywhere at Leo Rich. I'm all the way from YouTube, all the way to Snapchat, to Instagram, to LinkedIn, to everything. Leo Rich. Look for the black guy with the long tooth. That'd be me.
And to you, Ray.
Until I get my social media game up, man, y'all can meet me at Caro's on Saturday. Now I'm playing. But Ray Bellard on Facebook, man. Instagram, Ray Etc. Man. If you anything you see Ray Etc. on, man, come rock with it. Come enjoy it, man. And Houston Kings of Comedy in your face.
Shoot, you can find me on all of them. It's White Boy Eddie, WYTEBOIEDDY. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those different types of things.
All right. So, guys, thank you once again. But now I have a parting shot. So, today we had Leo on. Leo told us about his journey in comedy from Houston to Austin. Also his upbringing and the things that he's doing with his skill for the community. We applaud him for it. Then we had Eddie here. Eddie explained his rough upbringing in the A-Leaf area, his steps to atone for that early upbringing, and also what he's doing now as far as bringing laughter to all of the audiences and also bringing them with a little bit of thought behind it to make them think. Then we also had Ray Etc. here, who brought up his community organization that he's doing for the hungry, not the homeless. Also the coaching of the youth in the Southport community, and also his endeavors within comedy. So what I would like to say is this: community. When I think of community, I think of home. I think of a time where it was older people that were watching me, that if they saw me doing something that wasn't right, they'll grab me up and they'll chastise me before my mother could. And then when my mother would get to me, I get chastised again. due to the fact of either time change or gentrification, some of those communities are gone. But what I tell you is this: even as I grew up, I had childhood friends that met their fate through streets, also through natural causes, or just life in general. Sometimes I felt lost. You may feel lost because you may be displaced due to gentrification or by any different other circumstance. But I tell you this, community is home on the inside. When you carry what you learned from the past with you as you move along in your future endeavors, you'll be a shining light to those who are lost as well. Bring them along with your journey. It takes a village. No one person can make a change. And as we said here today in regard to the Jacob Blake case, we do have to move different. We do have to be accountable. And what that means is, I'm not going to come out here and look like the stereotype that many people think that I'm supposed to be. Now, you may see a chain on my neck, you may see jewelry on me, you may see me in expensive clothes, but guess what? I have intelligence and I use it. Never dumb yourself down for anyone to try to fit a stereotype. Be you at all times. That's what was community about for me, because there were many different people in the community. They were cool people. I had a homosexual elder person that was in the community. His name was Sap. R.I.P. Sap. Now, Sap had the most game in the world. He taught me life. He taught me how everything worked from the top to the bottom. But he was a little bit different. But everybody in the community accepted him for being different. Then there was also a gentleman. His name was Mr. Dave. R.I.P. Mr. Dave. Mr. Dave used to get up early in the morning and go on Washington and go to the bakery and go get all the bread and all the apple pies and ride around in this hoopty and sell them bread and apple pies. What that taught me was to get up early in the morning and go get it. So those people, they may be looked down upon, but that was community. That's home for me. And I carry them with me as I move along my journey. So what I like to ask you to do, just be yourselves. Open your minds, open your hearts, and stay safe. This Ken Mills here with Boss Up Houston Network, and I have one announcement. The gentleman right here, Ray Etc., he'll be hosting Politically Incorrect at the Library Coffee and Wine House at 2612 Scott Street tomorrow on Friday, 9/11.
Yes, sir.
Headlining will be Side Ducci. Now, if you guys are interested in coming, come on in. Come holler at me. $20 right now pre-sale. Look on my page for it. $25 at the door. But we'll see y'all next time with another fresh episode. Y'all have a great day.